Hey everyone, CT Luna here, author of Brown Beyond Borders, Emerging into Golden Multidimensionality. Welcome to the Auto Lab. Throughout the month of July, I'm running a little experiment. I know so many of you love to listen to your books, and since I'm getting ready to eventually record and publish the official audiobook for Brown Beyond Borders, I wanted to practice reading it out loud first. In addition, I feel like it's sort of the best way to stay connected with book one content while I start getting hot and heavy on book two, which does not have a title yet. So now you know, folks. So every single day this month, I'm pulling up a chair. I'm reading a few pages of my memoir right here. And if you're on the free list, these daily drops will stay open for just a few days before they head into the archives for my paid subscribers. So make sure you keep up. And if you ever miss a session or want to unlock the whole archive to listen at your own pace or to read any of the other content that's going behind a paywall, you can upgrade to a paid subscription anytime. And for today, let's just hang out and get into the story. I am still reading from the preface, and I am. Yeah, I've already read a little bit from it yesterday, so now I'm picking up where I left off. And it'll be like right after these little stars here in the book. Okay. Before we dive in, allow me a moment to speak to some of the terms I use throughout this book. I have deliberately chosen specific words to capture the nuances of race, identity, and personal growth, particularly for those of us with mixed backgrounds. Let me clarify my intentions behind a few key terms. Let's start with brown. Brown with a capital B. This is my reclamation of a term used to describe people of mixed race, particularly those with African, Latin American, Asian, or indigenous ancestry, and especially those of us who inherited more melanin than in our complexion. Using the word brown is how I celebrate the beauty and complexity of my mixed heritage and create a sense of solidarity with others who share similarly blended backgrounds. Black, with a capital B, signifies more than just a dark skin color. It represents a shared culture, history, and experience, particularly in the context of the African diaspora and the struggles against systemic racism in the United States, Europe, and elsewhere. It's a way to acknowledge and honor the resilience and strength of Black communities wherever we are. I was recently asked about the difference between the words race and ethnicity because I use them a lot throughout this book. It may seem to some that I casually interchange their use, but I don't. Race is a word I use with a full recognition and acknowledgement that the concept of categorizing the world's peoples based on physical characteristics, such as skin color, hair texture, and facial features, is a socio-political construct, not a biological reality. Let me read that again. Race is a word I use with a full recognition and acknowledgement that the concept of categorizing the world's peoples based on physical characteristics such as skin color, hair texture, and facial features is a socio-political construct, not a biological reality. The word race and the idea of racial categorization were designed to create and uphold systems of power, which have led to inequality and discrimination. This form of categorization has historically been imposed on individuals based on characteristics the dominant or dominating society deems significant. Ethnicity relates to cultural heritage, language, history, and shared experiences. I have personally found more freedom to self define without external challenge my ethnicities in a more fluid, community contextual way. Sometimes I speak about simultaneously biracial and multi ethnic people. And in these cases, the geographical or community context is at play. For example, a person living in and born in Hawaii to a dark skinned Tongan parent and a lighter skinned Chinese parent would primarily be considered multi ethnic. because the context in which they live celebrates the cultural differences that person embodies. They are American, Hawaiian, Tongan, Chinese, and Pacific Asian. As a catch-all, they are brown. And if that person were out of their context of belonging, finding themselves in another country, such as Finland, they would be perceived as other, Black, whether accurately or not, biracial, or brown, before having the chance to self-declare their ethnic makeup. White, with a capital W, refers to the social and cultural identity associated with those of European descent. And while I certainly acknowledge that a person born to, say, a white Frenchman and a white Swede would have every right to call themselves a person of mixed heritage or multi ethnic, I would hesitate to call them biracial or brown in this book. Not to exclude, but rather to acknowledge the lived experiences and struggles of individuals who are othered based on their appearance aligning with arbitrary racial classifications created centuries ago. To further elaborate on and to honor the complexity of this topic, I had the pleasure of knowing a young man with white skin, light yellow blonde, naturally straight hair, and aquamarine blue eyes. He was a Berber and proudly declared himself African, having grown up during his early childhood in Morocco before making his way to Washington, D.C. While I don't know how he self identified racially, Black, brown, or white, I'm confident he had the agency to decide how, when, and to whom he would reveal his African ethnicity. Again, this goes to show how challenging it can be to write about this topic in a way that's fair, balanced, and clear. Let's return to the topic of the terms I use throughout this book. Some people have warned me against using the term immigrant. They have yet to provide a compelling reason for not using it to describe myself when it applies. The word immigrant encompasses individuals who have left their country of birth or their country of naturalization to settle in a new country. It acknowledges the challenges and opportunities that come with navigating multiple cultures and identities, as well as the resilience required to adapt and thrive in a new environment. For my entire life, I have used the word immigrant to describe myself, or it has been erroneously applied to me when I move through my life in my birth or naturalized home countries. Golden. In one of the stories I tell later on in this book, I was inspired to use the word golden to describe and celebrate the group of mixed heritage individuals I met and worked with on Maui, Hawaii. While I'm proud to call myself brown, golden felt so much more fitting to describe the diversity and shades of beauty brought by the people I encountered there. Over the years, golden has grown to encompass so much more. The potential and inner beauty that resides within each individual, particularly those who have been marginalized or underestimated due to their race, ethnicity, or intersecting identities. Golden captures the spiritual and limitless potential and multidimensionality that resides within everyone. I understand that many of these words can carry different meanings for different people. And my intention is not to offend or exclude, but rather to create a context for open and honest dialogue about race, identity, and belonging. And by using these terms in a conscious and intentional way, I hope to reclaim the narrative and empower others to embrace their own unique identities. This book is an invitation to explore the complexities of our backgrounds and to celebrate the richness and diversity that comes with being authentically you. It's a journey of self discovery, a quest to uncover our golden multidimensionality, and a testament to the power of embracing our whole selves. Join me on this journey in discovering who you truly are and cross the threshold into your own golden multidimensionality. And that is where we're stopping for today. Now, since today's reading segment was a bit shorter than yesterday's, I wanted to try something fun and answer a question I get asked all the time. In fact, I was asked this question just about 2 days ago. How long did it take me to write this book? Well, the truth is, it took a really short time, but it also took a really long time. So this book did not start with the intention of becoming a book. A lot of it, I am a writer vocationally, so I spend quite a bit of time writing, not only at my day job, but also in my free time. And so a lot of these anecdotes and moments throughout my life, I've recorded them in lots of journal entries and as little stories. So I actually had all the notes there. And it was about 3 years ago, no, 2 years ago, in 2024, that I realized that all of these stories that I had collected, they all had my biraciality as a connecting thread. And so I kind of just explored some of those stories that I had, and I started to map them out. And that was in October of 2024. And in that time when I was doing that, I realized I actually had content for half of a book, or I had about 25,000 words already sort of pulled together. Now, mind you, these were journal entries, so they weren't written with the through the lens or with the intent of being read. So a lot of that content did have to be rewritten. But again, I'm a writer, so I kind of knew what I would need to do in order to tweak those to become, more of like an interesting story or something that's narrated versus, me just kind of, spilling my emotions onto a page or kind of like stream of consciousness writing. So from that point, it was in September, I think, I started to pull the materials together. And I actually worked with a wonderful woman, Liz Leiba, through her Crown Quill program. If she ever has something like that again, I don't think she's continuing it, but if she ever opens something like that again, I encourage you to sign up for that program. And she also echoed what I thought to be true, which is like, Cynthia, you've got mostly a book here. So we kind of looked at the content that we had. I kind of just shared with her some of the themes that I was exploring in the content that was already there. And after about two conversations, I identified, okay, what are the stories or anecdotes that I can identify in my time since Washington and since Hawaii, et cetera, that I could kind of like use to connect the pieces together and create a sort of seamless story. So that writing of it, or the final 25,000 words, took maybe another 2 or 3 months. All of that was on the side of a full-time job. So I'm used to kind of understanding what my writing rhythms are. So I know when I'm inspired to write, and I know when I'm not having a good writing day, and I don't even try. So yeah, I was done with that by December or January of 2025. The first few months of 2025, I didn't really look at the content very much. I started to get back into the book earnestly in June of 2025, so last June, and that's when I started to edit it very heavily, revise the book, do some restructuring. It went through developmental edits, revisions. I used AI, in case that might be another question. I used AI to help with the editing of the book as well. And in July of last year, I decided to use Substack as a platform for starting to communicate around my book. And that's when I had also decided, it was June or July of last year when I decided that I would self publish and that I wouldn't go the traditional publication route. It did feel urgent because we all know what was happening in the first 6 months of January of 2025. And so I felt like traditional publishing route would just slow down the process of getting the book out. And it still took me another 6 months to, format the paperback version and get it out the door all alongside my part-time job, my full-time job. So yeah, So the short answer is it took me between 3 months to 6 years to write the book. But in terms of how long will it take to write book two, I think it'll take about 18 months. I decided to write book two already March of this year. And I've started to draft it. I'm handwriting most of it, and I expect to be finished and ready to put it out by around this time next year. So there we go. So that's, if you have any other questions, let me know. So yeah, if you have any other questions about this book, about the chapter I just read, the writing process, or anything else we covered today, drop it in the comments of this post in Substack, and I might answer yours on a future episode. I'm really glad I'm getting to share this unedited process with you. So look out for the next pages. I will be starting part one, chapter one, tomorrow, and it'll be in your inbox tomorrow. And if you know someone who would connect with this part of the journey, please share this post with them while it's still open to the public. And if you want to support this audio experiment and my writing as I deep dive into book two, consider becoming a paid subscriber. You can subscribe on a month-to-month basis or an annual basis to unlock everything in my Substack. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all tomorrow.